Hello, folks. How are you doing? And welcome to our channel. Let's get the mic, seeing as we're doing another singer. Um, so today we're going to be channeling John Lennon. And John Lennon is an interesting character, a truly, truly powerful and transformational character. One of many souls that came to this earth and left it in a changed way. John Lennon, those of you that were touched by his life, his story, his legacy, have been changed. Something changed within you from listening to his music, um, his life, his story, his death, and his legacy. And that was meant to be in that way. You were meant to be changed. The world was meant to be changed. He wasn't meant to reach old bones. Um, the codes, the energy, the upgrades that came with him were that powerful that there was no way he could have reached elderly bones. Um, there had to be a shock factor in his death. This is channeled, by the way. There had to be a shock factor in his death for it to really pierce the hearts of the world. Um, Let me just backtrack a bit. I've totally forgotten about this, but I need to mention it. On honeymoon in 2017, I have talked about this before on here, but if you've not been around a while, let me share it, please. We went to New York, went on a cruise to New York in 2017. And I'd always believed in this kind of stuff, but I was in a matrix job and my life was about to change and I was having an extreme awakening without realizing what was happening. And I'd become highly sensitive to energies. And we'd gone on a tour. We'd landed in, well, set sail, landed. What do you call it? Landed. Anyway, anchored in New York. And we'd booked to go on a tour of New York. And I think one of the first stops it was the Dakota building where he lived. Um, that's interesting. Yeah, there's a hotel in Leeds called the Dakota Hotel that keeps drawing me in anyway. And honestly, we went into what's called, there's a Central Park there, but there's a part of Central Park that is called Strawberry Fields. And I mean, some people claim his ashes are there. There is a monument there. But we went there and I literally, the downloads that I was getting in relation to John Lennon, they were profound. And I remember thinking I'm losing my mind because everything was so highly sensitive for me. Then we went to Ground Zero, and again, more messages came at Ground Zero. I thought I'd share that with you. Anyway, as I came to sit down, I was saying to myself, John Lennon, John Lennon, John Lennon, John Lennon, John Lennon. He came in with lots of things quite quickly, and I was like, I need to write them down. So I've got some bullet points here. I don't know if I've discussed this before. I know we have done a channeling of Branwell Bronte on here, but you do know, don't you, that John Lennon had a lifetime as Branwell Bronte? You do know that, don't you? And that J.K. Rowling had a lifetime as Anne Bronte, and I didn't know this. One of you watched my Anne channeling and said, and put in the comment section, I'm paraphrasing you here. You said something like she's got a publishing company or some type of a company as J.K. Rowling that's called Bronte Productions or something. And I was like, oh, I didn't know that. I really didn't know that. Um, John, in his lifetime as John, was a character that made people think. And one of the things he brought up was that J.K. Rowling, I mean, I know many people have issues around J.K. Rowling, but she is also playing the character of someone that is here to really make us think about so much in so many different ways. Let's tune into that. Feels like it's going to be a bit of a different challenge than we've done before. Let's tune into it. So, 'cause it's the first thing on my list. So, what is J.K. Rowling here to teach us at this time? That nobody stands still, that great creators can have differences of opinion and problem. A modern day saying it's a modern day world is problematic. We'd say problematic now. He may say controversial views. That creation is powerful. That you can create something, as in like music, books, art, that brings in such a frequency where you actually can't hold back in what you need and want to say to the world. You see, I shouldn't even be thinking this or feeling this, but because of the way the world is now, you're like, oh, but she's here to teach us decency. I know people that hate will just jump on and go, how is that showing us decency? But if you understand energy and if you understand soul contract, you'll understand that. The sacredness between the two unions, the male and the female, the sacredness of the feminine. In a time when there's a rising divine feminine energy that's happening on this planet, um, it's important to be reminded of the feminine, but also as well the fact that many people loved, they said Jane Bronte then, Anne Bronte, and may hear this and go, especially if they've got wounded in relation to JK. But one soul can play many different characters. He's saying when you understand dimension, and especially when you go over, he says you think you know it all when you're here, even if you're on a path of healing. But when you go over there and you realize what it all is about, that so much time is wasted on hatred, on thinking that everyone's your enemy when they're really not your enemy. They're just having a unique human experience. Everyone's getting carried away with everything. Everyone's getting carried away with what everybody else is doing. And it needs to fucking stop, he's saying. His words, not mine. um, Everyone's butting in on other people's experiences. Everyone's getting passionately involved with everything. I'm passionate about that. And yet they've got no passion for their own life and their own creation and their own destiny. She's saying that's interesting. She's saying interesting. She, ooh, is on here as well. He's saying everyone's going on about peace, but no one's willing to become peace. Everybody's saying they want this great peaceful world, but no one's willing to do the work to bring it in until you know, or you're at peace until somebody mentions somebody on the world stage you don't like, or until somebody mentions a family member that you don't like, and then watch where peace goes then. Buddha. You showed me Buddha before I came on. Um, and he called them something like the schools of Buddha. over the other dimensions that he's been interested in and been taking part in. He's saying, he is in Johnny saying Buddha is God. I don't know whether he feels that he's his God, but Buddha is a God, a God. He went correction. A God. Buddha is a God. He's saying on earth, it's important to keep yourself as clean as possible in your integrity and your behavior. Because when you get to the other dimensions, if you're heavy and dense and carrying all this baggage of hatred and anger and separation, you can find it really difficult to take advantage of these different teachers and masters that are over there. Um, he's given me the analogy of a school child or a college pupil that has got their new school bag for their new school day, but it's full of everything, books, pencil cases, PK. And it's like, forget it. Just leave that bag to one side. You don't need that bag of shit to be able to go in to that classroom, do you really? I remember in the 90s, we didn't have lockers in the 90s. So when we went to school, we had to have everything on our bag. And carrying that bag from class to class was a ball ache. Um, And he's saying it's the same thing with life. We're carrying it in the other dimensions, but also carrying it in the physical dimension that we're in now is becoming a real ball ache that we can't do what we're meant to be doing at an energetic level because we're carrying what people have said and done. And it's not just personal lives, it's global stage as well. It says it's easier to flow through the upgrades, the change, the healing when you're free. He says when you can just watch a situation or a person say or do something and not get attached to it, the good, the bad, the ugly, they have just said something. It's so freeing. He's bringing me back to J.K. Rowling, and he's saying many people. That's interesting, isn't it? Sorry, let me just. Many people, he's saying, are refusing to read her books, and they loved her books. It can be the same thing with people music. Like people refuse to listen to Michael Jackson and his music because they believe in the allegations. But he's saying because somebody has told you they're a bad person, you're hijacked, so you won't appreciate their books. Yet you may like somebody or an actor or a creator or an artist from before records began. Oh God, the information is like, and he's bringing my attention to the Bible now. And some of the people that were behind the Bible were very, to use our modern world, very problematic, and yet nobody really wants to go there. So it's freeing your mind of the noise. Like you may think I'd like to go to the USA, but I know there's problems within the USA with the politics. So I'm not going to go. Why are you thinking that? Again, it's baggage. It's stopping you going forward. If we cleared all of that stuff and just said, go enjoy the books, go enjoy the films, go enjoy the music, go and enjoy all of that, and allow it to speak to you in its own way, you do that. Whereas now he's saying going into a music place, music shop, be online, remember different dimensions, etc. Going into a bookshop is so difficult for some people. Not for me, it isn't. But I know from the book world, I don't get into this, but in the book world at the minute, there's so many problematic. Oh, it's just getting ridiculous. You can't read that. The problematic. It's like fuck off. I'll read what I want. I was swearing you and John together, but just enjoy it. Enjoy it because, like he said, you could be liking someone from Victorian times and yet they really did have an issue. Do you know what I mean? And he said that there's an energy also on the world of people taking pride and righteousness in being offended. And I'm a good person because I don't read that, listen to that, watch that. Um, Even as far as the music and the stuff in Hollywood, there's some things, because there's many stuff coming out about it, but somebody could say to me, I've just been to a concert to see X, Y, Z, or whatever. And I may think, God, really? But they may have got something from that. Do you know what I mean? I remember in 2019, just before I did my shamanic training, it's what I called my last blowout. And we'd booked some tickets. Was it 2019? No, it wasn't. It was 20, no, it was 2017. Yes, 2017. And Liam Gallagher came to Leeds Arena, and Gary was a big Oasis fan, Liam Gallagher fan. I, at that point, was kind of getting into Liam Gallagher, and I went to this gig, and I turned up, and I nearly cried because there were drug dogs, police vans, people pissing everywhere. It was just, oh, I'd never experienced anything like it. And I actually went into, there was a Costa, and I went into Costa and I just sat and then I could have cried. And I came out and I said, I can't do it, I can't do it. And Gary actually rightfully said, and said, well, what did you expect coming to a Gallagher concert? And I said, it's my problem, my naivety. And I just focused on lining, getting in the queue and knowing at any point I knew full well that if I really didn't like it, I'd walk out. And try to use something. I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. I put aside my ignorances, put aside my pre things of people throwing. I even read people through piss. Um, anyway, I actually enjoyed it, and I actually found something very spiritual and very enlightening about Liam, and I still see that in him. Um, so we've got to stop this ignorance with all of it. Even people in your own life that you may think, God, they're not awakened. Stop being a bullshitter. Because there's something to be learned from everyone if you're willing to learn, if you're giving yourself permission to see it. He's showing me his own life as John now and this frustration at why people couldn't, in his lifetime, why people couldn't just get on with it. Um, get on with just being. Why we needed pieces of each other. Why do we need to take a chunk out of each other? He's saying this constant energy of trying to bring each other down. And he's saying he had shadow aspects that he wishes he could have mastered and understood more in his lifetime as John. Falling outs with people, things that he got involved in, behaviors that he did, lifestyle choices that he had. Um, because he says from a different perspective, when you go over and you see and you start awake and you start realizing, he said, because you don't really start it until you really go over. Um, and you then realize how much time was wasted. I've got a deck here called the Time Traveler's Oracle, and I'm just transfixed looking at it, the word time traveler. So, this is it here. What are you bringing forward with the time traveler? Time traveler. He's saying, I'm not really here, but I'm not really there. I was shrouded in mystery. I was one of the record keepers. He's showing me the pyramids. He's a keeper of records. He comes in an incarnation to remind us of how we need to improve and be better. He can be in many bodies at one time. He can be in many dimensions at one time. He's also saying that he knew something about JFK and JFK's assassination. He showed me JFK's assassination and that he was told something about JFK's assassination. There was a point in his life that he's saying he was mixing with, I want to say the word undesirable, but he's using the word undesirable, or people that had their ear to the ground. I don't know the politics of America, but he knew something about JFK and the assassination, and that could be one of the reasons why. Very careful what I say. One of the reasons why he as in John, with two Johns, ooh, interesting, had to be ended. Unalived as the word is now. I hate that word unalived. Where did that come from? Let me know in the comments. I hate that word unalived. It's an unaliving. It's like, "Wah." Anyway. So he knew something about JFK. He showed me documents and folders. I hope you didn't keep any of those. That possibly been burnt. Um, Yoko was a cold, God. Yoko was a code holder too. He's saying Yoko's energy was beyond anything he'd ever come across in his life. He's saying it was more prominent when she was younger. Um, but when you came into her energy, her physical being, it's almost like she just had to like literally boom and you could be upgraded. Um, she has a past life as one of a priestess of Egypt. And one of that was one that made me say many people had issues with that union. But he had to meet Yoko. They had to come together, a form of alchemy. But also, as well, the energy between them was so powerful, they could not live together until old age. You would have never have found John and Yoko sat together in the 70s or 80s. They just couldn't. The energy between them was like, when it came in, it was powerful. And he's saying, from a physical perspective, it was too powerful even for them. He's saying, especially me, as in John. Um, he didn't know how to balance it, how to alchemize it, how to understand it. They could read each other's mind, read each other's energy. He's saying we could sit in a whole room all day, not speak physically, but have conversations on different dimensional levels. She still communicates with him to this day. Oh, yeah, he's reminded me, isn't he, the bed stuff that he did, where rather than screaming at the world and protesting and being a nuisance, his words, not mine, he took to his bed and did it peacefully. And that is still spoken about more today than any of the riots, any of the protests. Those pictures of Yoko and John in bed are still shown to this day, the codes from what they did. Even he's saying, if ever you have anxiety or overwhelm in your life, if you get up those pictures of John and Yoko in bed and look at them, you'll feel a peace. Also, as well, playing John's music can be peaceful as well. John and Yoko's music can be peaceful. He's saying as well, get a rose, a real rose. It can be red, yellow, pink, a rose. Remember, the rose is for the feminine. Hold it, make sure you don't get prickled. And as you smell it, bring up the energy of the rose and into the heart, and that can help with anxiety. He's saying there's something with the palms to show us what we can do with the palms. He said there's cords on the palms. He's showing me this. So we'll start off like that, rubbing the palms. And as you're rubbing the palms, palm of the hands like that, so you've not got your fingers like that, we're at that stage. Visualize a portal of energy or a circle of energy between each palm. And this energy opens up and it starts to connect, starts to connect. So the energy is coming from one palm into the other and it's starting to make a ball and you start to separate, separate, and then just hold it. And then visualize that energy between your palms and ask it to be where it needs to be. So help with confidence, help with anxiety. And then breathe it in and swallow. And he says that's how you can bring out your own path. It's coming from within you. It's not coming external. You're forming it yourself. He said it's also a great way to fire up the body and the body's healing process. He's also saying as well, if there's something in your life that you can't see clearly with, to massage the, oh, that feels really, whoa, very lightly. Oh, it gives a tingly feeling, does that? Serious, Claire. So it's get a finger because this is really sensitive on your third eye like that, yes. And just don't press on, don't poke yourself in your third eye. Just very gradually. You're just skimming it very gradually. Circular motions. You can either do your head like that, like I'm doing, or you can do a bit of both and say, let me see clearly, let me see clearly, let me see clearly, let me see the situation clearly. And you will be able to see the situation clearly. I don't know anything about all this kind of stuff, but he's now shown me the throat. And if you want to speak your truth, go like this. Get your finger and just rub it up. Bring it out. Let me speak my truth with love, with kindness. And then there, start to tap it. And do that as much as you need to do. So if you're going into a works meeting, if you're going to be singing, it actually feels clearer. And then he says, look away from someone if you feel the need to blow out as well. Oh, look this. God. Write all these down, everyone. Um, she just said to me, he said, is Paul alive? And he winked at me. Um, let me share your story. John Lennon was the first person I ever channeled, I think. And I did it when I started on YouTube in 2020. No, the video is not on because they were all practice videos. I wish I'd left it, but I didn't realise at the time. So I'm doing this channeling of John Lennon. And I'm not like you do. And I said, I said, he's talking through me. And I said, one of the things I like about being dead or being in death or being in heaven or different dimensions is that I get to see more of Paul. I didn't think anything of it. Got a phone call off my auntie. Do you realise what you've just said in a channeling of John Lennon? Nope. Why? What have I said? She said, well, you said one of the things I like about being dead or being over there, whatever, is that I get to see more of Paul. And I said, I know it was weird that because obviously Paul's still alive. And um, why would I? I remember at the time when I said it thinking, maybe he meant because they'd had a falling out, didn't they? And then it was easier for him to communicate with Paul when he was in the other dimensions. Because you can come back and see. She said, have you not heard the rumours that Paul had had a car accident, etc., and that it was swapped and whatever? And I actually, hand on heart, had never heard that. And it came up again this morning. But it's weird because every time I look at this, and actually I have done a reading on it in private because me and Gary were going to do a psychic investigations on this. And Gary is a very level-headed person. And when we pulled the cards on it, even Gary was like, let's pull a card on it. I mean, I've got a tarot. I've got a tarot deck there. Gaian Tarot. Let's just, I don't know why I'm going to use the Gaian Tarot, but let's have a look at this whole thing we've just been talking about in relation to Paul. Ten of Earth. Right, interesting. Guardian of Air. I will hold the cards up. Ten of Earth shows a man walking away. And Guardian of Air, again, of Air. I'm going to do something here because this is one of the decks I really like because it's got a really interesting book with it. God, if I can get a book out. And I'm going to read what Ten of Air, not Ten of Air, Ten of Earth is about. You'll see what I mean in a minute. I've got Ten of, why do I keep saying, just a minute? Because I've opened the book and I've got to, oh God, and I've got to Ten of Air. Yeah, that's Guardian of Air, right? I've opened the book and it's Ten of Air. And I said that that was Ten of Air. It's not, it's Ten of Earth. Right, you can see that, can't you? So that card hasn't come out, but I said it and it's the one I opened. So let's get the glasses on, even though they're not readers. Right. Canada geese fly in a V formation during the fall migration. We can almost hear the chorus of honking. The familiar sight of geese flying south for the winter never fails to tug at our hearts, bringing a sense of impotence and longing. In European tales of wild hunt, it was said that flocks of wild geese or swans embodied the souls of the dead who flew through the winter night sky. John fans, John rabbit hole fans, owls, people that have gone down this rabbit hole, can you explain in the comments? I'll read it again. Let's do that technique right now. I'm going to have to read that again. And I also can't believe what I've just read beneath, but bear with me. Canada geese fly in a V formation during the fall migration. We can almost hear the chorus of honking, the familiar sight of geese flying south, for the winter never fails to tug at our hearts, bringing a sense of impotence. I probably said that wrong, and longing. In European tales of the wild hunt, it was said that flocks of wild geese or swans embodied the souls of the dead. Oh, I get it. Who flew through the winter night sky. So, these are the geese that are coming in, embodying someone else. I'll let you work it out for yourselves. And then we go on. When you get this card in a reading, it's a bitter, sweet time of letting go. You may not want to face the winter to come, yet it is inevitable. What plans, ideas, or strategies do you need to release as the old year wanes? Who are the ancestors that whisper to you as the geese fly overhead? What wisdom do they have for you? When you read the shadow side of this card, You may be resisting the progress of time and want to hold on to an endless summer. This is not the way of things, as we all know. Surrendering to the natural flow will lead to the discovery of treasures that are only found during the seasons of cold and dark. And the affirmation is, I heed the inevitability of change and discover the gifts found in letting go. I heed the inevitability of change and discover the gifts found in letting go. Now, pull ourselves together. I said the card was Ten of Earth. No, I didn't. The card that I've pulled is Ten of Earth. We haven't even got there yet. Of somebody walking away. I said it was Ten of Air, and it wasn't. I opened the page at Ten of Air, and there's that message. So, Ten of Earth and 10 is the completion of a cycle, the new beginning. So, 10 of Earth, this one. In the deep forest, we come across a nurse stump or nurse log, a tree that has fallen during a storm or been cut down. As the log decays, it provides fertile ground for new growth to take root in its dying body. Insects and fungi hurry along the decomposition process. Squirrels and other creatures may perch or roast there. Roast. It's not Sunday, you're not making a dinner, John. Um, Adding food scraps and scat to the rich humus. Soon, moss, ferns, and mushrooms appear, and the seedlings of new trees. Many years later, you will see full grown trees whose roots have grown over one of these nurse stumps or logs in the background. An elderly what? An elderly gentleman walks the forest path through dappled shade and sunshine, heading heading for the spot that opens up into the light. So do we pass along our wisdom to the next generation, that they might flurry as we pass on. We've got two cards here about passing on. Yes. When you get this card in a reading, something you thought had ended in your life is beginning to burst forth with new shoots. Perhaps it is the wisdom of your parents and your ancestors that you pass along to those who come after you. It may also be the long journey to see your work succeed is finally paying off. What do you consider to be great wealth? It has been said that we have done for ourselves alone die. Let me read again. It has been said that what we have done for ourselves alone dies with us. But what we have done for others remains. In what ways does your work support and sustain others? When reading the shadow side of this card, have you allowed overwork and overwhelm to trap you? Perhaps you fear there is never enough for all, or you could lose all you have gained. In what ways might you be struggling with outmoded family expectations or social class prejudices? Our Mother Earth herself is the example of plentifulness, diversity, and we're on 11:11 as I'm reading this, so 10, 10, 10, 11 is a new cycle. Make of it whatever you will. Diversity and sustainability. Be willing to let go of your demands and allow her to bless you with the abundance that you most need. Affirmation. I know that my life's work will benefit the coming generations. And then, what was this next one? Guardian of Air. Right, let's find that one. Investigators. Oops, where are we here? Seven of Water, Earth, Air. God, where is it? Where is it? Just give me a minute. Give me a minute. Guardian of Air. Like anything. What number is it? Does it have? They don't have numbers on. Helpful. Guardian of Air. God, where are you? Come on. Elder of Air. Elder of Fire. So what are we looking at? God, oh, found it. Thanks. Oh God, somebody had to step in. The Guardian of Air is a yogini whose bare feet don't feel cold of the snow. This is not a woman who puts up with pretensions or incompetence in others. Her challenging gaze pierces you like a knife. She looks straight into your soul, shining a light on even the dustiest corners. She has removed herself from main She has removed herself from mainstream society, preferring the starkness and solitude of a mountain top. She has spent so much time in meditation and prayer that she has expanded her awareness to experience the entire cosmos. From this vantage point high in the mountains, as you listen to the toning of the singing bowl, what becomes crystal clear to you about life? She guards and nurtures the qualities of communication, decision making, strategy, prayer, and meditation. Her ally is Snowy Owl. I said owl, didn't I? I said owl because of that. Who offers the gifts of prophecy, insight, clarity, whether in full daylight or darkest night. When you get this card in a reading, the Guardian of Air brings clarity to every situation, even if it hurts. She sees straight through the core of things, making her very candid and direct. She teaches us to cut away everything that is extraneous until only the truth of the matter remains. She bestows her gifts of skillful communication, whether writing, speaking, or editing. The Guardian of Air places great value on self discipline and has little patience with those who do not. This may be reflected in an autonomous or austere lifestyle. Now is not the time to shrink from making difficult decisions. It is time to speak the truth, loudly, boldly, and with great integrity. When the shadow side of this card appears, what needs to be said? What is preventing communication? Too many words or too few may be confusing the issue at hand. Someone who is very influential may be overly judgmental. It is easy to be critical of others, and care should be taken that wit does not become biting sarcasm. Tact and clarity are needed. The right word at the right moment is a precious jewel. Affirmation. I declare my own truth with candor and clarity. Okay, let's have a card from this tarot deck here. Good, good job I left my tarot deck here, isn't it? So, is it the same Paul McCartney that we have today that we started with? Was there a change? Was there a change? God. Interesting. Right, okay. So, Wheel of Fortune is change and something coming in to be changed. Ace of Swords is cutting through something, and this keeps falling out, the trickery card. What I'm going to say here is there's a very strong possibility he was. If he wasn't on a physical, then something happened to Paul where the part of Paul that John loved went. Now we've had all walking energy and stuff like that, where basically this is your soul, your oversoul. Okay. Now, this all walking energy can be very complex. An aspect of you can die and your soul goes, and something else comes in, and it can be something that's foreign to you. So it can be a little, it can be a big intrusion, okay, and it can be a big personality change, or it can also be another fragment of your soul that wants to come in and experience of your oversoul. So part of you goes, but there's something changes and you go forward. There's definitely been a change. So. This could be deep, dark, dangerous, real manipulation stuff. It can be both of it as well. Um, yes. I'm. Ooh, that's a sharp deck. Let's take a card from this deck in relation to that. So this is the Time Traveler's Oracle. I mean, I want to say the original Paul, because that's what it feels like. Could the original Paul have been a time traveler as well? You could go as out there with this as you want. Did the original Paul go off and carry on time traveling, the soul of the original Paul, leaving something else in its place? Power. Dinosaurs in the Jurassic period. Life force energy. That's interesting. Two dinosaurs going in different directions, not looking at each other. And again, we've got the lion watching over as the Messiah goes ascending. Interesting. Where are we going next? We'll leave that there. Make your own opinions. I've given you some theories. Um, I said like Paul said then, God. Like John said, we only see the physical body really. And we're starting to become better at seeing the bigger picture. There are things happening all of the time energetically of which we cannot comprehend. Um, Showing me the modern day Hollywood now and the swapping and things that go on there and the playing about with things and the playing about with energy and soul and the natural order of things. He says people are constantly playing with the natural order of things in one way, shape, or form. Um, and that has repercussions on many levels. Where are we going next? He wants to talk about death and the process of death. So he's showing me he's just been shot. But in the run up to being shot, so in those moments before, he was receiving messages, visions of his time was coming, of being shot. Um, he very quickly transferred back into his original form. He felt tremendous release at the time of death. There was no part of him that wanted to stay. The connection between him and Yoko was so that they both knew that like sometimes when someone dies, they want to stay with their partner, they don't want to go over. It was like they loved each other enough to realize that it's okay to go forward. It's okay to be free, that they didn't need to be stuck to each other physically, that they were in a different form with each other then. He's then showing me, so he's looking down at the body and he's then going back in time, like in a really quickly life review, like literally going back. So he's been taken through all of his life. A bit like, when you rewind a video or a program and you take it back to the beginning, yes? What did they just say? And you take it back. It was that vision of going back. That's how quickly it can happen. Um, and like literally, it's that quick that you remember that you were just sat somewhere with your guides, with your oracles, and you're back there already. So you say, I'm going to go and incarnate, I'm going to be alive, going to do this, going to do that. And then all of a sudden it goes, and it does it, and it comes back really quickly. He said, here, it's like years. There, it's like that. So that's what it feels like to the soul. That's interesting. He's saying that we have to be mindful of calling loved ones back to us. He's saying because the density and the frequency and the energy is so different that if you're constantly crying for mum to come back or for a loved one to come back, he says it's actually quite cruel. Um, because it messes with the natural order of things. And he said, this is something we're going to have to learn with death. And this is I've been getting this as well, because there is a video coming up on here soon, maybe after this one, about death. Um, and this is coming up in that video where part of the evolution that we're on now is making peace with death so that we don't see it as something deep, dark and dangerous, that we see it more as a celebration that that person has gone back to a time, back to where it's meant to be. Sick of it on here. I'm joking. People get like that. Um, he's saying, and then the fun starts. He said he really can't put it into words how quickly it all is from a soul's perspective. Why do people fear death, John? Why do people shouting, Claire? Why do people fear death? Because they're ignorant. Okay. Because they've closed their eyes to infinite possibilities. They've become too dense. They've become too earth. He says, yes, grounded is good, but to get lost in the earth, as in not let's change the wording. Lost in the world earthly pleasure, he's saying. Let's change it. They're lost in the earthly pleasures, earthly routines. They're lost in all the stories of death. He's saying the ancient ones celebrated death like they celebrate birth. They felt honored when somebody died. Whereas now it's doom, gloom, heaviness. He's saying something about it's like my music. So I don't understand what he's saying. Maybe John fans will understand, proper John fans. It's like my music, he's saying. So his music was done 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, or whatever. Done then, but can be listened to now. What's that mean? Your music is still alive today as it was then. So, say somebody who was never alive physically when John was here could be drawn to his music. John can be as alive for them as it was to their grandfather that loved John. Yes, does that make sense? So it's about understanding that the physical cells, blood, guts, and bones are not here, but the energy is still there. The blueprint. Why else do we fear death? Because of the teachings of sin and making mistakes and not being able to get through the pearly gates and all of that. Because of the fear of the unknown. Because we've become needy with each other, that we need each other. These are all hitting home for me as well. Um, he's saying, when you come to earth, everything is cleared. He's saying, but what's happened is it's gone to the extremes. He's saying the universe is always about testing and learning and growing. People think that the other dimensions are perfect, but things can go wrong, or things they're evolving too. Different dimensions are evolving too. So you come to Earth and it's cleared, but it's gone too far. And they, the other beings, call them the galactic, whatever you want to call them, universe, Godhead, Galactic Federation of Light, or whatever, have realized that we need to make changes with that. That future humans can't possibly come to human with it being cleared. Um, there was a hijacking. There was a hijacking of the software which caused that, and it's needed to rebalance it. And humans chose also not to remember. So consequently, people have lost themselves. Yes. He's saying there's some upgrades that are coming and it's going to affect the chest. And it's going to, I don't know if it's starting now. These eclipses have been wild. So these upgrades that are coming, where they're going to be coming very straight, it's the chest. And there's something about breathing where we're like, where we're really breathing really heavily because it's really taking our breath away. He's talking about like instant clearing of karma. He's saying this stuff is wild. When you all start to experience this, and don't anybody in the comments, because this comes up as well. I'm already experiencing this. This is not something that's already here. This is something that is coming. We've got to stop this spiritual ego that's going on in the spiritual community. There's no need for it. We've been the first to experience something. This is something that's coming, um, and it's instant karma clearing. It's instant clarity. It's instant insight. He's saying it's coming. It's starting to really implement the earth. End of 26 into 27. Um, 2027, he's saying, you're going to be struggling to remember your past because it's going to seem that like a dream where you've moved on. You dream, you wake up and you really remember it. Then as the day goes on, you're like, "Whoa." It's going to be like that. This is about focusing on our present. He's saying these upgrades are wild. So it's between 26 and 27. By 2028, we will struggle to remember the past. The groundwork is already being done for this now, which is why you're all feeling a little bit time slippy and time trippy. And this is wild at the minute, is this? Not realizing what date is it? What year is it? Where am I? What do I even do for a job? Like literally, not joking. Um, Also, you're gonna come out with John. He showed me somebody that I don't know if they're here already or if they're coming into the music industry. And their energy is, like you said to them right now. I don't know if it's because I don't follow music really, but there's nobody there that really stands out to me. They're all a bit meh to me, to be quite the modern day entertainers. But there is somebody coming that is very different. I think Roy Orbison spoke about this and codes in music because it's, what have you put why do all these special people come in and be film actors or musicians? It's because how are they going to reach the masses? Come on. Be real. Be real. Everyone is special, but be real. If a soul needs to come in and bring in codes and healing and clarity, and it's an intense soul, it's not going to come and just own a shop, is it? If it needs to get its message out across, it's going to come in a powerful way. And it's going to do that through music, through film, through book, through podcast, through YouTube, through all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So we've got to stop this thing of them and us energy of why are these souls always fake? Why are the specials? Every soul is special, but these big, heavy duty souls need to have heavy duty platforms to come in and do it. Do you know what I mean? Otherwise, it'd just be Paul would have just been, I don't know, a bank manager. Not Paul. Why do I keep saying Paul? Go with it, Paul. Interesting. If John, oof, if John had just been a bank manager, or Paul, or whoever, or Ringo, do you know what I mean? Anyway, that Princess Diana had to marry the Prince of Wales. She had to be placed in one of the most famous families in the world because she held so many codes, so much ancient wisdom. She couldn't have just married Bob Smith. Yes. Um, Darwin's another one. Okay. Music, books, theatre, it all allows you to time travel, to meditate, to heal. He's saying many people are getting triggered by AI at the minute, but he said stop getting triggered by AI because also many people are discovering the arts, the culture, the power of music. I know as a reader, not as a card reader, but as a book reader, I know reading's on the increase. And if you're into your music, you will know that music's on the increase, theatre's on the increase. They'll say, oh, the theatres are struggling, but more and more people are taking an interest in it. You know, there's people in my life that have never really talked about art that are talking about art galleries, and because there's codes and healing and wisdom within all of this. Anything else, John? John was an Essene under Christ, Yeshua. So he trained under Jesus Christ, Yeshua. Um, there were days of constant knowledge, and he's showing me now the classrooms that he used to have. He is in Christ, Yeshua. He said, yes, it was by a word, but it was also by a download. And he's saying, you know, Yeshua had the gift of just being able to look at you in the eye and give you the information. Um, and he's talking about ancient tablets that you could hold in your hand that were crystal, that your frequency powered up, and you could. He's talking about ancient scrolls and wisdom on these tablets. A lot of the wars are affecting these places where we had this teaching. See, it's funny because those lessons are also happening now. It's all. He's saying there's constant meetings, not like Zoom meetings, but there's constant meetings between the different dimensions, between gatherings. Because if meetings triggers you, gatherings of energies, galactics, ascended masters that are constantly reassessing Earth, constantly reassessing timelines and collecting timelines. Interesting. I was going to say collapsing. Um, he said you're in a holding pattern at the minute. You're being held, whilst things are worked out across the board. There's a big shock coming to humanity, a big shock which will propel you forward. It says, I'm not telling you any more information on it, but there's a big shock coming to humanity that will propel you forward into timelines that you never even believed could happen. And that's how we're going to go from the dense earth into the new earth. Anything else? Let's have a card from the Time Traveler's Oracle. A card for humanity right now, John. A card for humanity, and then we'll wrap up this video. I always get a bit like that when I'm channeling. Okay, there's two. Whoa. Okay, the card that has fallen out on my table is creativity. And with that, I trust everything that's just been said in this reading. He had a past life as Picasso, I wonder, as well, or incarnation as Picasso. There's something, I mean, Branwell was a painter as well. Look at some painters, artists, Claire, not painters. You would call them painters, wouldn't you? You would call them painters. 8th of April, Picasso died. Was it 8th of December? John Lennon died. How can he be a reincarnation if they're born at the same time? Remember what John said, that you can be in different bodies at the same time. There's no need to speak to us like that, Claire. I'm only having a laugh. 9th of October, 8th of December 1980. So Picasso. What was the other one I got as well? Eek. There was another one at the same time. Picasso. Picasso, what was the other one? It wasn't Van Gogh, I don't think. It was in my brain when I was thinking of Picasso. What is it? Let's keep going. Let's not get stuck in energy. So, creativity. Past lives as creatives, past lives as authors, past lives, alternate lives, dimensional lives, temporary lives, artists, writers. But out of creativity comes chaos. Hey, out of creativity comes chaos. So something here about when you are a deeply creative person or a powerful creative person, excuse me, you can bring about your own demise, you can bring about your own chaos. But also, as well, what's the next card? We've got abundance at the bottom of the deck, stillness. Oh, yes, stillness. You have a choice also, as well. Yes, you can choose. Oh, God, there's so much coming here. We can create anything at any time. Are we creating chaos or stillness? But out of creating chaos comes stillness. So if your life is in chaos, it is time now to go towards stillness. Out of chaos comes stillness. So many people that have had chaotic lives, lifetimes, interdimensional lifetimes, will will go towards a stillness. And Japan. So he went to Japan, didn't he? I'm called to Japan, you know. It does my head in at time. Not Japan, but me being called to places. Um, John and Japan. John Lennon, Japan. John Lennon, stop shouting, visited Japan 5 times, most notably spending the summers 1977, 78, 79 with his family at Yoko Ono's family summer home in the Karuizawa resort town. So Yoko Ono being Japanese, Japan. What's he saying about Japan? What he wants to bring forward about Japan and the stillness? He's saying it's about learning respect and tolerance for different cultures and countries and being able to see outside your own box or boxes. Um, just sticking to your own beaten track. Because when you stick to your own beaten track, that's where you stay. It's about variety is the spice of life. And he's saying, yes, some people can't travel through physical disabilities or whatever, or financial restrictions. But there's nothing stopping us looking at pictures of Japan, meditating and traveling to Japan in meditative state. There's nothing stopping you from this video going off and thinking, right, I want to watch a video on Japan on YouTube or a vlog in Japan. I once did this. I watched one of a couple that went to Paris and I really enjoyed it. I've never been to Paris, but by the time I'd finished it, I felt like I'd been. I really felt like I'd been. My whole system felt like it had been to Paris. So it's opening our hearts and our eyes to different cultures. Also as well, deleted Paul again. John, John, yes. Going to Japan, bringing forward codes and keys and wisdom from Japan to the rest of the world. Being able to bring that forward in his music. And with that, let's have a final card for humanity, a parting of the deck. Exuberance, the roaring in Paris, talking about Paris. Get out there and enjoy your lives. Life is too precious to sit at home worrying, moaning, complaining, fearing. Get out there and enjoy it before it really is too late. This isn't about dying because there's nothing wrong with dying. It's about it being too late for you. There is a playlist on here called Channeling Famous People where we've channeled a mixture of different souls, the good, the bad, the ugly. Interesting. You can work your way through that if you've enjoyed this video. Don't forget the next group healing is the 14th and 15th of October. Information is below in the description box, and that is about healing and recovery and going forward after abuse. Have you been abused verbally, sexually, physically, emotionally, spiritually? Have you had your name slandered? Have you been persecuted and bullied and you're just struggling to let that go? If so, get your sends on the next group healing, please. Okay, details are below in the description box. Like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.